What's up, bro?
What up? How are you?
Good, man. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm just pulled over to the side of the road. I'm on my way. I've been training pretty hard and stuff, so just in between some stuff with my body and training and stuff. But yeah, how about you?
Oh man, I've been working on my jump shot. I'm trying to go to the league. You know what I mean? So where are you at right now?
I'm in Northern California right now.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
And you say you've been grinding, just working on your new strength and conditioning and the whole nine.
Yeah, I just finished up the season in the CBA, and then just came back here. Had a little bit of a vacation, rest up the mind and the body, and now I'm ready to go again.
Like, you're playing against some of the people you looked up to as a kid, or you're just like on this big stage. Like, is it nerves every night? Do you get used to it? Do you feel like, oh, I made it? Like, what all goes through your mind on that kind of stage?
It's crazy. That's a great question, because I think everyone, at least right now, like, everyone's tuning in. And it's like, oh man, like Danny Green is so inconsistent, or like why didn't the coaching staff think of this? And it's like, dude, these guys have spent so much time, more effort, and this isn't like for a lot of these players, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. I mean, you think about training for 20 years, and finally you have a moment that you probably think like, hey, I may never get this again. And again, it's like everyone from the outside is like comparing it to their local pickup game, where it's like, oh well, and it's like, no, this is like, not only is this what they've trained their whole lives for, this has like an impact on this is writing for their legacy forever. This is all the aftermath and the consequences of everything. Family pressures. If I don't do well here, it's embarrassing. What will it affect my next season's job? How will it affect my family, my livelihood? All these different pressures coming into play. And everybody on the outside is like, man, why can't he just hit the shot? It's like, dude, it's not that simple.
Wow.
I mean, there's just so much pressure. And I think one of the things that I have thought about is like, one is just to be less judgmental, because even for me as a fan, sometimes I'm like, man, like, just grab the ball, go get that rebound, or like I'll be thinking about different things, and it's like, man, it was never that easy. And I think you understand too, like, to be great, to get to be good, you could do that pretty fast. It requires work, but to be great and to be like the best and to stay there, it's a whole different ball game, man.
Whole nother ball game. Now, that's what I was going to ask you too. Is like, because that's how I feel. I feel like, for what I do, I won the awards, I got the records, all those things. Like, everyone's idea of success, I got it, right? But it's like, for me, I felt like I was climbing a mountain, and then you get there, now you're fighting to stay there. You're fighting to, like, oh man. And then I realized in my own life that though I had accomplished all these things, it didn't stop the problems in life from happening. It wasn't like, oh, now everything is solved. Look, we made it to the top of the hill. And I'm just wondering, for you, like, kids dream of making it to the NBA. Like, that's literally their dream. You did that. How, like, is success everything is cracked up to be? Like, what would you want people to know about? Okay, I did make it this far. I was all over the news. I accomplished all these great feats. I was, you represent for your culture, like, you're an icon, you know what I mean? But I just what would you say, like, success, the highs and the lows of that for you were?
And for me, when people think about my career or me as a person, they always, call me Linsanity. And they're like, Linsanity, oh, that moment, that stretch in New York. And if I was to be real, I don't even like saying this answer, because it's just really, it's such a downer. But like, what's the one thing, if someone asks me, what's the one thing you learned from Linsanity? Really, the one thing I learned from Linsanity is that success is not all that everyone thinks it is. I mean, I had a dream, and Linsanity was that times like 5. Like, even in my wildest dreams, I would never have been able to dream of Linsanity the way that it happened. And I still remember in the moment, like, and I've shared the story before, but like maybe the first week was just like euphoria, and I was just like on cloud nine. The second week was pretty crazy too, but then by the third week, I started, even before games, like I couldn't sleep. I had that anxiety inside of me because it was like you said, it's like you achieve something and then you're just trying to hold on to it. And it's like you think that it ends and you think that your desire to achieve and your ambition will just all of a sudden go away. It doesn't. It's like no matter what happens, you'll always set a new goal, a new standard, a new objective. And the truth about that is that like if you just spend your whole life chasing that next thing, you're gonna live your life riding the highs and lows of whether you get that next thing. But even when you get that next thing, even when you get everything that you thought you wanted, you're gonna realize it's not enough. And that is the one thing I learned from Linsanity that like I wish I could tell every single person. It's like you might think, man, if I was only like beautiful like so and so, then my world would be perfect. No, if only I had money like so and so, if only I had this car, or if only I had a family that looked like this, or a house that, and it's like, yeah, at some point, man, like anything that this world can offer is gonna be fleeting, it's gonna be empty. And that's why to me, like Linsanity had to force me to look at my faith at a deeper level and be like, okay, well, when I'm like really right, when my relationship with God is right, I don't feel this desire, like I don't feel a void in my heart. And that's, I mean, that sounds cliche, but
no, yeah,
it's true, man.
It's true. That's why it sounds cliche, because it's true. It's like, yo, this is such a real thing. And I think we all have to get to that place. It's like you got to come to the end of yourself or the end of the circumstance to realize, you know what, like God really, it really wasn't about me in this whole thing, and God is the only real sustainable like person that I can hold on to in the midst of all this stuff going on. I think about in my own life, like how I've reached these highs and gone through all these issues and dealt with all the you know, all of the celebrity public figure stuff, but yet at the same time, for me, sometimes you get so wrapped up in doing the work, you know, it's kind of like a saying, they say, you're so busy doing work for God, you're not spending time with God. You're so busy doing work, just like checking boxes, you're not really thinking about, oh, how is this affecting people, or is this like effective, or is this working? And I'm like, I've had moments where, yes, I know I'm like volunteering somewhere, or yes, I know I'm speaking somewhere, doing a show somewhere, but it's like I'm thinking more about, did I do a good job, or is this right, versus like, am I really helping people? And I think about you, and some people know your story, some people don't know your story. Like I can give like a brief summary of like, you had this, you know, you come into the league, you have this incredible, you know, moment in time in your life where, you know, it's almost like the dream, you're living the dream, and then that dream is interrupted with something different. And now, you know, you've got to go play. You've got to leave the NBA, you've got to play overseas, you've got to kind of figure out a whole new perspective on it all. And I'm just curious for you, like, what did you learn? Like, what did God teach you in this time? What is he teaching you if you're still learning? And what has that been looking like for you?
I mean, you know, definitely within the concept of restoration, what I've been learning is that if I wanted to, you know, because I think everything happens so fast, life happens so fast. So I'm always kind of thinking, all right, what's the next thing to do? What's the next objective? What's the next season? But one thing God has really taught me is that if I really want to go forward and be great going forward, I have to resolve what has happened in the past. And I think there's a concept of, you know, I'm wired to just think and go forward for the next thing. But whenever there's brokenness, there is a need for restoration. And if you go through a lot of brokenness and you just push it off or you know, try to sweep it under the rug, at a certain point in time, it's going to catch up to you. It's going to affect you. It's going to affect the people around you. And that's why I think man, like especially in 2020 and how crazy everything is, and every single person is like, we're all going through some level of brokenness right now. And if we don't focus on restoration, then like we will not be able to, we will in the short term be able to sweep it under the rug and try to figure it out, but at some point it's not going to keep going. And that's what God taught me this past season is like, hey, all those disappointments, all those failures, all those things that you went through in your career that brought you to where you are today, you can't just put your head down and just keep thinking like, all right, well, I'm just going to outwork and I'm going to outsmart and I'm going to out problem solve. Like at some point I had to come face to face, you know, and address it within myself and be like, you know what from the past do I need to address? And how do I let God really, how do I give God space to heal me emotionally so that I could be great physically? And so that's really what God has been teaching me, which is a humbling lesson because, you know, I always pride myself on being, you know, mentally strong and and that's, you know, the MO of an athlete is like, man, we gotta be mentally strong, we gotta be men, we gotta be but at the end of the day, it's like, dude, we're human and we're so small, and so that's one of the things that God has really been teaching me.
That's good. Dropping gems on us, dropping gems. I was thinking too, bro, like I was thinking about, so I was watching, I know you probably watch, you keeping up with the finals right now. And I was watching it and I was like, I was thinking because everyone has so much to say, like we sit and we watch that level of play. And we all have thoughts, right? Like, you know, everyone's like, oh man, so-and-so's inconsistent, or I can't believe he hasn't hit a shot, or why doesn't Jimmy score 40 tonight? And I'm wondering from your perspective, like you played at the highest level, like what is that like for like somebody who's watching this and somebody who just doesn't, you know, they be watching the finals and just like, what runs through a person's head? Your job is to play basketball, right? Like that's your job. So you don't have to be, you know, that job requirement doesn't require you to help bring restoration to the world, help, you know, find ways to serve people. It doesn't require you to do that. So where do you find that tension or that balance? How do you wrestle with that in your own world?